United States for organizing this forum. It is quite timely after 61 years of independence to actually have a discussion around youth, and having actually young Congolese organize this event is very inspiring for me to see that. So that's why I also want to thank you, Larissa. I want to thank Ruth for the work that you are doing. I know our elders, our parents have passed on the baton, and they can rest assured as things are moving forward to the Congo, the spirit of the struggle, fighting for a just Congo continues to be embodied to the youth. I've been asked to speak about what's next for the future of the Congo. And if I do tackle that sentence, the question as it's been posed, I may sound like a prophet, and I don't want to do that. You know, Fanon told us that we don't know our future, right? But we do the right thing as necessary. When he says that, he said that every generation has to find this mission, either fulfill it or betray it in relative opacity. And it means to me, as I look back to the history, when Dr. King at age 26 decided to mobilize for human dignity in the United States, for people of color in the United States, he didn't know where he will go, but we still feel the impact of his work. Similarly to the injustices that people who in the Congo during colonial time faced, they knew that they wanted justice. They knew that they were fighting for dignity. So they did not necessarily say that in 2021, this will be what will happen, but what they needed was the immediate independence of the DRC. We are in 2021, 60 years after independence, and we see that we have received political independence in the DRC, but we still do not have the economic independence. What does that mean? Patrice Lumumba fought for a just Congo, but he had a fundamental sentence he continued to say when he walked in the streets of Kisangani and Kinshasa. He wanted the resources of the Congo to benefit the Congolese people. He understood what we say in Lingala, Likambo ya Mabele, coming from the Tetela tribe, connected, I think his mother was Songe, trained in the tradition of the Leopold man, understanding that the colonial people who came to that region wanted to take control of the land. The elders of his community let him know already then in the 40s that you must fight for the control of our land. We as African people, we as Congolese people, we survive with the control of our land. We use the land for producing food. We use the land for producing tools that will help us survive. If we do not control it, we cannot do much. So he mobilized young Congolese at the time, but there was a challenge that unfolded. As he mobilized with Congolese at the time, 40s and the 50s, we were limited to not having a greater scope of the continent. We did not know, for example, that people in Algeria were fighting for liberation. Of course, when I'm saying that in general as the Congolese people, like fighting for national liberation without the context of Africa. And thankfully to a few Pan-Africans, particularly Ras Makonnen, who found out that in Kinshasa there were young Congolese who were mobilizing. We found ourselves as Congolese in Accra. But Patrice Lumumba, Gaston Diomi, and Joseph Ngalula were invited to Accra to meet with all the young Africans in 1958. They knew they were fighting for independence, but they did not realize the magnitude of the struggle until they arrived in Accra in 1958, meeting Kwame Nkrumah, meeting Fanon, and all the liberation fighters who were in Accra there. After meeting them, they realized something. There was a discussion. I'm gonna try to paint a picture. You know, I wasn't there, but I'll try to share with you how I understand that meeting. A revolutionary leader of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, understood the importance of the Congo for the liberation of the African continent. He had a plan, a free and united Africa under the banner of socialism. He understood that we could not become an independent country. Any nation on the African continent cannot become independent if they did not have control of the land. Why? Because you need your land to have the wealth to develop your country. And he understood also that the Congo River could provide electricity to the entire African continent. This is a study that was found in the 1950s. He understood Congo's cobalt, gold, manganese, zinc, uranium, all the wealth that we have will be the engine for the transformation of Africa. So it was critical for the people fighting for liberation in the Congo to be connected to those fighting for liberation across the African continent. So he had a conversation with Patrice Lumumba. Say, Patrice, you should go back to Kinshasa. You should mobilize. What support do you need? You need intellectual support. You need material support. You need financial support. Let us know what you need.
Nigga.
But whenever you are able to go in Kinshasa back to the Congo, make sure that you mobilize the Congolese people to understand that their struggle is not just a Congolese struggle. It's not just an African struggle, but it's a global struggle. As Patrice Lumumba returned to the Congo, he did not return alone. We know today that Mau Mau from Kenya were in the Kasai region doing film screening of the film called Liberté, going villages to villages. That's 1959 and before the election, during the election of 1960, May 1960. Think about that. In 1960, Kenyan Mau Mau, who spoke Swahili and also English, were able to go to the Kasai region, mobilizing communities, showing a movie called Liberté, discussing the importance of African unity, and getting Congolese to be ready for independence. But they were not the only ones. You had Cameroonians who were there. You also had Chadians and the famous Central African woman, André Bloin, who was sent to the Congo by Sékou Touré and Kwame Nkrumah to support the Parti Solidaire Africain, and as well as MNC of Lumumba. And as we all know as Congolese, we're thinking 61 years later, we know that the work
Hello, niggers, nigga, sight white dick, suck white dick, niggers.
I believe the account has been hacked. So you probably want to block the person that's just joined the call.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I just blocked them. I'm sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. That happens. So as these young people mobilize to transform, they were successful at getting the immediate independence. So they achieved their goal. What is it for now, for us, young Congolese today? We see that there is a government, we see that there are social issues, and many of us also are outside of the Congo. Now, we are either in the United States, some are in Europe, some are in Latin America, some are in different countries across the African continent. We ask ourselves, what is our place when we know that our country is politically independent, yet we can read that a gentleman by the name of Dan Gutler still controls oil from the Lake Albert in the eastern part of the region. And we hear état de siège, where military forces are coming into the region of North Kivu, in the area where there's so much oil. What is our role as young Congolese? Our role outside of the Congo, what I will try to sum it is, we must be the ambassadors of the Congo to share the story of the Congolese people. What is the story that we have to share? We have to share the story of the struggle of the Congolese that started since 1885. In 1885, we were not at the so-called Berlin Conference. We didn't decide that this land that we live on is going to be called Congo. European nations, including the United States, that's what we forget, decided on the table to carve up that country and take the people who live on that land and take the resources of that land without accounting for what is theirs. We have to share to the world the struggle of the young Congolese who gain independence. Those who fought in the 1990s, especially 1992, for democracy. Coming back to our generation, the Telema uprising. In 2015, January of 2015, in our lifetime, in our generation, we saw what young Congolese can do. Young Congolese with no political colors, with no particular political parties, came together in Kinshasa and in 5 other cities across the country to say no to a political change that the government wanted to do. And what was that change? In January 2015, the Congolese government wanted to introduce a law that will make it mandatory that before the presidential election, we have a census. For the first time in our lifetime, we saw young Congolese hit the streets for 2 weeks and shut down a city of 15 million people, Kinshasa. Their action showed us what's possible. Because they went to the streets, members of the Congolese parliament, the Senate and the lower chamber, they all voted no for this law. For the first time, I understood that Kengwa Dondo, who was the head of the Senate back then, spoke Lingala, because I never heard him speak Lingala. How do I know that he spoke Lingala? They actually live streamed the debate in the Senate, and they voted live. Why did they do that? If we know that in the Congo, less than 5% of the Congolese have access to the internet, right? 5 to 10%, depending on the source that you use. Why would they live stream a debate in the Senate? They live stream that not for the Congolese on the ground. They live stream it for the diaspora. They wanted the diaspora to know that we did not vote for this law. Please call your family members on the ground to start protesting in the streets. And not only they spoke in French, but they also spoke in Lingala. Ba papa, ba mama, bandeko, lelo, to vote, luana, to boyi ango lelo. You could hear Kengwa Dondo speak Lingala. But the young people who rose up in 2015, they also lost, many of them lost their lives. The human rights report of that year says that they discovered mass graves in Maluku of over 400 bodies. We argue that these bodies are the bodies of the young Congolese who were killed during this protest. But we know that they paid a heavy price, but we know what Congolese people could do without any political color to hold the government accountable. So I will try to stop from there to say that the call for the Congolese diaspora, the Congolese youth in particular, is to look at it and say, right now, our mission is to liberate our country. We can go left, we can go right, we can talk about political parties, we can talk about government, but our fundamental struggle is the freedom of the Congo that can only happen when we control our land. We must unite, tell our stories of resistance, rally people around the globe to come at the side of the Congolese in the noble struggle. And for those of us who have access to the United States, in our lobby effort to hold the United States government accountable. Some of us have a US passport, we have US citizenship. If we do have that, we have every single right to tell the American government, because we are taxpayers, that they should stop supporting the so-called strong men on the African continent. They should stop supporting dictators. It takes just a basic letter. It takes just less than 5 minutes to either write a letter, make a call, to mobilize community. And I see already young Congolese doing that. You know, it is an initiative of the Congolese with what is happening in the Congo, in the DRC, to see people around the world actually, you know, searching for Congo is bleeding and what is happening in DRC. We are in the right path. We must continue on that path. Let's not forget those who are on the ground, and let's use the privilege that we have outside of the Congo to bring change in our dear country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musavuli, for your great presentation. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for him? If you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. We'll be sure to answer whatever question.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Oof, I lost. Oh Lord.
CCWM, go ahead.
Yes, just want to say I'm very happy to be in this meeting. And I want to thank Papa Kambale for sending me the link. And I salute everyone in the call. First point would be I joined during the speaker's part. So if there was a way for him to resume in one sentence or two, the main points of his part, and then that's my first point. And the second point would be to say, at CCWM with the Zoom events, we try to do promotion as we are in the call. This is a very important meeting. We are actually 22 right now. If every one of us activate our WhatsApp, if we send messages in WhatsApp to all of our Congolese contacts in Congo, Germany, France, Belgium, Canada, United States. I mean, personally, I tried not to send a link to the CCWM members right now because we are in the barbecue of our independence celebration. So right now the president is on the field with everyone else. But I'm sending to everyone I could since I was listening for the last 10 minutes. Maybe we've won maybe 2 or 3 of the people I've sent the invitation. So I invite every one of you to send the link to your contacts as we listen to the speakers. So just to remind my first point, is it possible to resume in 1 or 2 phrases what you were explaining in your section? Thank you.
It's very hard to resume, but the essence of my message was really to go back to Fanon. Fanon reminded us as African peoples and as oppressed people around the world that we must find our mission. The mission for the DRC is the total liberation of our country. It can only happen if we control our land and we control our resources. There is no other options. Every other form of change is just a reform, and we've seen that for the past 20 years, since 1996, what has unfolded in DRC. And what Fanon submitted was each generation must find this mission, either fulfill it or betray it in relative opacity. For us, we believe that our mission is total liberation of the Congo. We believe we found it since Patrice Lumumba started fighting for change and liberation for the DRC. We know we can achieve it if we unite, and that unity needs to be an ideological unity. We cannot be confused about why we are fighting. And for young Congolese who are in the United States, I know it's a long summary, but I just want to submit one more thing. I came to the United States when I was 17 years old. I came as a refugee when the Second War started. And there were many things that I saw in the United States that could have led me into a different path. Finish high school, actually play football at my high school, Ben L. Smith. Went to the University, North Carolina A&T State University, had a job, worked at McDonald's, Rite Aid Pharmacy, and so on. I was integrating the American society. But what really helped me stay grounded is the community, the Congolese community. And having the Congolese community around me, reminding me of what is happening on the ground, helped me focus on saying what is important for me. I have the privilege of being in the United States. I know that the war in the US, in the Congo, is a US and British war against the Congolese people using Congo's neighbors. So if we come together in the United States to put pressure on the negative forces on the outside, that will give space to Congolese on the inside to make the fundamental change that they need on the ground.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Thanks a lot, my brother. I think we go in the same direction. I'm curious to listen to other speakers and everyone else here. Thanks a lot for your resume of your point.
Did I have a question too? I put a hand.
Great, Mom.
Go ahead.
Yeah. My question was to Kambale. I think so. Thank you very much, Mr. Kambale. I appreciate, and really that was very helpful, especially for our youth. I know we start fighting for a long time, but I think so this is a time for us to move forward with our youth. What do you think that can make all the youth come together? Because I know we know a lot of mistakes, we know a lot of things too. But what you think is really the best strategy to use? How we can just put all our youth together?
My observation with the Congolese youth, especially in the United States, I've been very humbled to just watch what they've been doing, especially with using social media, particularly the hashtag what is happening in the DRC and Congo is bleeding. What I've seen over time is that Congolese youth are so savvy, right? And they come up with new ideas of how to mobilize. What they lack is information. What they lack is training. What they lack is connection with the elders, right? We take it for granted. I mean, I use an example today. I mean, I'm actually gonna go there too. You know, there is the barbecue with the Congolese community there happening for Independence Day. Do we believe that during that time, young Congolese will talk to the elders, asking them a very simple question? Papa, Mama, in 1960, what were you doing? Can you tell us about the youth movement that actually brought independence? I just found out about a month ago that there is a Congolese elder in Atlanta who was riding a bicycle in 1960 as one of the organizers for Abaco during independence, going from houses to houses, passing out flyers, right? So we don't have that linkage. So the youth have the know-how and expertise around technology and how to push information, but they lack the connection or the intentionality of connecting with the elders. And we can't change if we don't come together intergenerationally. So it's incumbent to the young Congolese to make it a mission to talk to the elders, so we're not repeating the same thing. And I will end, like when I started our Friends of the Congo, I remember, I don't know when it was, Mr. Maurice Carney shared with me a picture of my uncle. And it was a picture of my uncle when he was young in the early 1990s in Washington, DC. And he looked just like me, right? So he kept this picture. And one day I was in his office, he said, hey, you see this picture? Do you know who this person is? Then I looked at it. It was my uncle on the podium. Then the thing that stuck with me, I said, wait a minute. My uncle fought Mobutu for decades. And I'm doing the same now, right? But how come I never actually went to talk to my uncle to find out what are the things that they did to bring about democracy? Right? That we think that we are so smart, now we're coming up with new ways. So the message for me, for the young Congolese, we must reach out to the elders, use what we know, use TikTok, use all those different social media, but continue to stay rooted with what happened before and bringing new tools to share stories of the Congolese people in the world.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I may.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So thank you. Well, thank you so much for that. My question is, how would you really bridge the gap between the elders and the youth? I had an experience this year. I actually got to go over to DRC Congo. And one of the things I realized I got to witness was two movements that were actually happening over in Congo. And they were mostly with the young kids, with the youth of Congo. And when I was there, I saw them chanting and protesting upon the streets. But my uncle, he didn't find what they were doing necessary. And what he really would call them was more like troublemakers instead of revolutionaries or people who are fighting for change. But yet they, as elders, they sit there and talk amongst themselves about how they want change. So as a young person who's always asking questions to my elders, how would you get the elders to open up and give their feedback and give their thoughts to the young people so that we can understand and also pass on that torch?
You asked me a very difficult question. I'll share what I do, okay? Of course, I made a general sentence. Kabila is an elder. I'm not going to get advice from Kabila, right? So it's important to be grounded ideologically. I'll share my ideological grounding. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm a socialist. I'm very clear about that. And I follow the resolutions of the 5th Pan-African Congress that took place in Manchester in 1945, where young Africans from the continent, from the Caribbean, came together saying we need a free and liberated Africa, and our first immediate goal is independence now. And that's what brought all the independence movement that we see now, that we saw a concrete result of it. So I believe that it's not only a struggle of the Congo, right? We must fight for a free and liberated Africa, that we must understand what's happening in the Congo. It's happening to our brothers and sisters in Angola. It's happening to our brothers and sisters in Rwanda. It's happening to our brothers and sisters in Uganda, that they are all under an oppressed regime that's making sure that we don't control our wealth. There are elders who have done that. So it's up to us to dig. Who are the Congolese who are ideologically grounded that we can connect with in the community? When Patrice Lumumba fought with others, I mean, I know for a fact he had elders with him, but there were also people who called him troublemaker. I love troublemakers because they create change. They're able to generate discussion that makes us question why a country with the wealth of 24, what is it? I think it's $24 trillion, the wealth of the Congo, that the estimation, right? That the FAO, I always forget what is it in French, the agricultural institution from the UN just published a report, I think it's FAO in English too, saying that 1 out of 3 Congolese is starving. That's the report that just came out this year. But we have the agricultural capacity, just the Congo, to feed the entire world. Let's generate the discussion around that. Why are Congolese starving? There are elders who have information, there are others who don't. But we as young people, we have to continue to reach out to get information. We also have to know what is your ideology? What do you believe? Are you a capitalist? I know I'm not. I know what capitalism has done. Capitalism has done it that one has to come to the United States to get a Pfizer vaccine when the entire world does not have access to a vaccine. Like literally, I've been in the US for now almost 3 weeks, and I just walk into a pharmacy and there is a vaccine. And I was just on the African continent. People don't have access to the vaccine. Is that the world that I want to see for the Congo? No. Do I just want to see like a meeting I saw with Congolese elders in Washington, D.C., saying that for a new Congo, we want Congolese to be millionaires. There was actually a diaspora meeting of Congolese in Washington, D.C. with the president of the Congo, where the solution for the Congo was Congo needs more millionaires. Is that the Congo that we need? I said, no. What I think the new Congo is, we want to make sure that Congolese have water, have food, have security, have basic education with the wealth that they have. And to fight for that, let's use Pan-Africanism for that. I don't know if you respond to your question, but it's not like every elder that you have to talk to. Find out what is your ideology, what you believe in, and then connect with elders who can give you the direction of what will be impactful for change in the DRC.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your question. I have one more question here from, I think it was Bombastic Elements, and then I'll take one more question after that because we'll have to let Mr. Musavuli go. Let me just pull it up here, sorry. Okay, so Bombastic Elements asks, how can we mobilize as a collective in order to take action in the betterment of the DRC? For example, is it by buying land or is it by reconstruction of certain policies or governmental changes?
I have a smile on my face because, you know, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that I've been in spaces where people, elders, or even young people have given their time, their know-how, their expertise for me to become who I am. So every time I hear people looking up to me, asking me questions, I'm always saying, wait a minute, this does not come from me. So I always have to remind myself before speaking that, no, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for those who have taken the time to share with me some knowledge and to help. The issue in the Congo, it doesn't matter how much land you buy in the Congo, but do we control our land? Right now, since 2006, it's known that Lake Albert has 2.5 billion barrels of oil under it. The 2.5 billion barrels of oil under it, for those who may not know the geography, Lake Albert is one of the lakes in the eastern part of the DRC. It's at the border of Congo and Uganda. The oil in that lake, for some strange reasons, is found also in Beni. So it's in the lake all the way through Beni. That's where the oil is. We are living in a space where the people of the region, they have control of the land. For the past decade, people are being massacred in the area. They are telling us that there are so-called Islamic terrorists who are there, massacring people every week. No, they call them ADF. Even though the UN group of experts have said that this is not existent. Then you look that they just had the martial law, right? The state of siege. Congolese are still being killed. In Beni, the Ugandan military is building a military base. There is a US military deployment that's going to take place to that region. Somehow, Ugandan soldiers are now being killed by ADF. American soldiers are now also being killed by ADF. But it's Congolese who are dying, right? And they are testing our intelligence as Congolese people to actually go with the status quo. No matter how much land we buy, if we don't control our land, it won't mean anything. Government policies, if we change government policies and you have leaders who do not represent the interests of the masses, you will find out that Dan Gertler is still getting cobalt from Congo, is still getting the oil. You will find out that Trafigura is now getting access to cobalt. Like, I don't know if you noticed my trend that I'm mentioning names that in the ordinary discourse of Congolese people, that's not what we are discussing. When we are within the Congolese community, this is what we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the 500 jeeps, the SUVs that the government has just bought for every member of parliament. The estimated cost is $27 million. That, to me, it doesn't make sense to have a discussion over $27 million used to bribe politicians, because these politicians do not have the power. Unfortunately, right now, Washington and London, and in some extent now Paris, because of the oil in Lake Albert, are determining the politics of the DRC. If we want change in DRC, it's not going to be government policies change in DRC. It's not going to be purchase of land. It's going to be a Pan-African struggle that we must know that the people who are exploiting us in DRC, for example, the Glencore, are also in Zambia. We must also know that Total, the French oil company that's now getting control of the oil in Lake Albert, is in Uganda, is in Mozambique, is all over West Africa, also accessing oil. But how come these corporations are moving, no matter what government policies or changes we make, without the people of the Congo or African people to take control of the land? So that's where we become much more important as diaspora. We can actually hold these corporations accountable and foreign nations accountable from the United States if we are not on the ground, right? That's one level. And the second level, how can we collectively organize? We have done it. I'm sure some of you know of Congo Week. Congo Week exists since 2008. You know, young Africans from the United States and abroad created this campaign where over 60 countries and 400 to 500 universities around the globe, every October, they do Congo Week. Congo Week has a website, congoweek.org. It's a mobilizing tool that anyone can take in the communities to sensitize and mobilize for pressure in DRC. but it has to be constant, right? It can be, we can't do advocacy on the Congo almost as an extracurricular activities. So we can put that on our resume that, you know, I was on campus, I did this and that. For us as Congolese people, it's actually our, I don't know how to say it. This is our mission, right? We must fight to transform our country. We have families there and others that we must continue to do it. We have the tools, and I'm very glad, I said it already from the beginning. It's very humbling to see two Congolese sisters starting this meeting where they introduced it, they organized it, they've been sending this email to just put that together. That for me, I was telling myself, I have to be in this meeting. Because when you see young Congolese themselves taking the initiative to mobilize, that only gives all of us hope that we know we will be successful. But we must continue it, continuing the discussions, using the tools that we have. I propose Congo Week as one. There are many others to continue to engage. But let's not forget, it's not a national struggle for Congo. It's a Pan-African struggle to transform the entire African continent, because if Congo is free, the entire African continent can be free as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musavuli. I'll just go to the last two questions. Tajan will have to speak it out because he raised his hand. And Blaise Junior Tulo asked, what is the single platform for the youth to engage both with their elders to bridge the intergenerational gap? What is the single platform you will recommend for the youth to engage in matters of the Congo? And before I allow you to go, I'll just let anybody let us know what other questions they may have. And because we're running out of time and we're kind of on a schedule, we'll get the questions to Mr. Musavuli and any other speaker that comes across. We'll be limiting it to 3 questions per person after every speaker. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Musavuli, you may answer the question.
Okay. There is not one single platform. The way that I've noticed Congolese people, we come together in church, we come together in weddings, we come together in funerals, we come together in celebrations, some form of celebration. Like today, for example, I'm missing it, but I'll be there soon. There is a celebration of independence with the Congolese community in Washington, D.C. So in these spaces, we must be intentional about connecting with the elders. They are there, they are in these spaces. So it's upon us to engage them in these spaces. Outside of those spaces, we can engage, I mean, the community, most of the Congolese community have like an organization. I remember in 2009, when President Barack Obama was about to be sworn in, we were able to work to Congolese communities across the United States, and each one of them organized protests in the cities to demand that the US, the new US president, to change their policies toward the DRC. And I think that was one of the most successful mobilization that I've seen in the United States, to have all these Congolese communities. I think it was January 15th, if I'm not mistaken, January 15, 2009. It was a weekend, pretty much. But seeing that was that at that time, the presidents of Congolese communities were much more united in action. They understood that they need to deal with the social needs of the community, but they also needed to bring the political discussions of what was happening back home, and they engaged the communities toward that. So we should get back to it. And those platforms are the spaces that I see where these intergenerational discussions can take place.
I hope that answers your question, Mr. Tulo. Tajan, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, hi. I wanted to for you to clarify to me like the importance of Pan-Africanism, because like personally, I just I just don't really understand the concept of it, like the ideology basically of Pan-Africanism, and why not, for example, an African Union instead of Pan-Africanism, especially because I always see like Pan-Africanism being pushed as being very important for Africa, while I don't see that same ideology for like Pan-Asianism, which is also a thing that exists, but it's not like as important because they have just an Asian Union or a European Union, but not like a Pan-Europeanism or something like that. And just to clear it, because also I feel like some people, they also justify like other African countries or leaders stealing from other countries and just saying like, oh, but it's better to be for an other African to steal than, for example, from a white person or a European, person. And so I just wanted to understand, like, why is it so important that we look up to like Pan-Africanism, basically?
A very important question and a very humbling question too, as well. I'm sure you heard of EcoBank, right? And EcoBank, they always have this hashtag that say that they are a Pan-African bank. There is nothing Pan-African about EcoBank. A bank cannot be a Pan-African bank. I mean, what has happened with the term Pan-Africanism is that it's been depoliticized, right? That whenever you hear Pan-Africanism, you think of location. So for example, if I have a company in Accra, a company in Kinshasa, a company in Johannesburg, because I'm in multiple locations, now I'm a Pan-African company. Pan-Africanism has nothing to do with location, right? It's an aspiration of oppressed people, particularly African peoples, from the world to determine their affairs by coming together in unity, by understanding, based on the Manchester conference, understanding that our unity cannot be consolidated if we don't control our land and resources. Let me break that down much more. Kwame Nkrumah wrote a book called Class Struggle in Africa, and it kind of explained how African society is built. And I'll use the example of slavery to better explain what Pan-Africanism is. As Africans, we'll go to New York City and see these towers, right? These nice buildings and these streets, and we say, oh my God, I wish Kinshasa was like New York City. I wish Kinshasa was like Paris. I wish Kinshasa was like London. But what we fail to say in the sentence is, this only could happen because of slavery, right? The Western nations, during slavery, for 400 years, were able to accumulate wealth for free. Actually, in the United States, they had people, 1 out of 5 African American is from the Congo Kingdom, right? That they were taken as slaves. They actually worked for free in inhumane conditions and got this wealth that they are able to use over and over with advance than African people. And this was done in collaboration with the bourgeoisie of Europe and some of the bourgeoisie of the African continent that we call chiefs, who participated in the slave trade. Now, Kwame Nkrumah said that, okay, we want to be united as African continent. Why? Because we are all oppressed by the same system. The system is capitalism. They colonize us, they control the land and resources. If we unite and we don't have control of this land and resources, how are we going to develop? Well, the first option that I just explained will be to catch some slaves and have them work for free. Where will African people catch slaves to work for free for 400 years? First, this is inhumane, and that's not an option open for us. That's not something that we are going to do as African people. So, but we need this wealth. So Kwame Nkrumah said, in order for us to achieve this unity that will help in the transformation of our land, we need to take control of the land. We need to take control of those resources. We need to exploit these resources for the benefit of the people. He said it as in theory. No, African people said that in 1945 in Manchester at the 5th Pan-African Congress, discussing it. came out with a resolution. You must read the resolution of the 5th Pan-African Congress about actually what they agreed on. One of them was a United States of Africa under the banner of socialism, and independence now, which we saw the effect in 1960. 12 African nations became independent. When now Nkrumah said it as shared these ideas as theory, he actually put it in practice, right? Ghana, whenever it became independent in 1957, he implemented some of these policies. What did we see with Ghana? Ghana getting its wealth, bailed out Guinea whenever they were in trouble with France, when France took all the wealth from Guinea. They organized the All African People's Conference in 1958 that Patrice Lumumba came. And for us Congolese, we need to be very clear about this, because we celebrate the independence of the Congo as a national celebration. It's not a national celebration. We will not become independent if it wasn't for the African peoples who came at our side. In my presentation in the beginning, I mentioned that the Mau Mau from Kenya came to the Kasai region with a film that we were doing film screening in the Kasai region with a film called Liberté, going villages to villages, educating Congolese. We had Cameroonians who were there. We had Chadians who were working with MNC and Parti Solidaire Africain. And we had André Blouin from Central African Republic. They all were the technical experts working with MNC of Patrice Lumumba and PSA of Gizenga. So Africans were with us in our struggle for independence, but somehow we have erased it. And I believe that if it wasn't for the African solidarity, Congo will not have become independent. Because I don't know if you know, we also had Congolese who received scholarships to go study in Accra, in Ghana. Some of them went to Guinea, right? I saw that in the archives in Accra, that there is a meeting of Kwame Nkrumah where he was thanking one of the ministers for the Congolese who are coming to Accra to transit to go to Guinea to study. So if Africans didn't come by our side, we wouldn't become independent. Now, these two, right, the framework of bringing African people together to unite, of taking control of their land and resources for the benefit of the masses, had a concrete result of independence. What happened after that? Every single leader who had the banner of Pan-Africanism, they all were targeted. Kwame Nkrumah suffered a coup, Patrice Lumumba was assassinated, and we can go on, look at what happened to Cabral and so on. So our generation today, we are living in 2021, where there is a ravage of capitalism. That we believe, right, that the suffering of the Congolese is so extreme that we still do not know that on the African continent today, there is still one African nation that is still not independent. They're still under colonial rule. That nation is Western Sahara. They are being colonized by Morocco today. Right? And we can go on and talk about Somaliland and talk about different struggles across the continent. Young Africans understood that if we came together, we could become independent. When will us Congolese understand that when we are fighting for change in the Congo, if the 9 bordering nations are not transformed, we are doomed. If the 54, and of course with Western Sahara, the remaining 54 African nations are not free, our independence will be meaningless. And Kwame Nkrumah said it, the independence of Ghana is meaningless if it's not connected to the total liberation of the African continent. He believed it, but he lived it. For us in the Congo, when we're speaking about Pan-Africanism, at least for me, when I speak about Pan-Africanism, I'm speaking of Pan-Africanism of the 5th Pan-African Congress that calls for the unity of all people of African descent, from the Caribbeans, the United States to Brazil, the Latin American countries, to the continental Africans, uniting under the umbrella of socialism. And that socialism means what? It's a socialism that means that the people who are on the land have control of their land, they exploit their resources on their land, they take the profit of the exploitation of the resources and are able to use that profit to build roads, hospitals, free education, provide food, provide shelter, provide water to the people. That's the Pan-Africanism that I discuss. Any other Pan-Africanism that EcoBank and others discuss has nothing to do with the Pan-Africanism that I'm discussing. The African Union as an institution today is not a Pan-African organization. We really need to be clear that you can't have an institution such as the African Union be silent around what's happening in Western Sahara, be silent around what's happening in the DRC, right? And in the plan of creating the African Union, what was the real plan? It wasn't just having the Organization of African Unity that we call African Union. There were two branches that needed to be created. The first one was the Organization of African Unity, called now African Union, but the second branch was the All African Peoples Movement. Patrice Lumumba came to that meeting. The meeting in 1958 was the first All African Peoples Conference that brought movement from the African continent, not part of the government. Why? You have movement and you have institutional government. The movement will hold the institutional entity accountable. But where is the people's movement? This is why the Pan-Africanism movement of today has to be a people's-led movement to build the all-African people's movement that will hold institutions and government accountable when these institutions are not addressing the fundamental needs of the people. And we still have a long way to build that, but more and more young people are understanding what Pan-Africanism is, but we need to be grounded in what it is and unite across the African continent so that when we see Museveni running for a 5th, 7th term, we're not saying it's a Ugandan problem. When we hear that people are being killed in Burkina Faso, there have been videos circulating, we are standing up. When we're hearing that the people of Ambazonia in Cameroon are being massacred by Paul Biya, we stand up. When we hear the struggle of the Congolese, and for those who are joining the call who may not be from the Congo, they will also unite. And that unity will allow us to take control of our land and resources for the benefit of the masses.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that breakdown, Mr. Musavuli, of Pan-Africanism. And with that, I will direct any other questions that you may have for him to our question box. We have spent a bit of time on him, and I think we need to let him go. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to have someone that's a little closer to our age speak and also kind of direct us in a specific manner. Thank you so much again for joining us and for giving your time. On that note, I will like to introduce Mr. Guy Lumumba. He'll be a French speaker, so I'll try my best to translate. Please excuse me if, I don't do the best. Monsieur Guy, vous pouvez allumer votre caméra et votre micro et commencer votre présentation. Monsieur Guy Lumumba. Okay, I think he's really going through some technical difficulties. On that note, while he figures that out, I'll invite Dr. Kibiswa to speak with us. He's been on our platform as WHDRC before, and he was very informative, and it is great to have him back with us on CCUS. Welcome to the floor, Dr. Kibiswa.
Oh, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. I first want to thank you, Larissa, for this meeting and this opportunity to talking again to our youth. And I also congratulate Kambale Musavuli and thanking him because he accepted without any resistance to come and talk to our youth. And I would like him and Larissa, please keep Kambale Musavuli with you, and please organize more meetings like this, where Mr. Kambale can share with our youth strategies to get true liberation for our country, the DRC. As he said, we are controlled by the US government and politicians and multinationals, corporations, and UK, and to some extent, France and so on. But mainly, the most powerful nations are the US and UK. And it is from the UK and the US that we will get the liberation of our system. So that's the key. And I want Mr. Kambale to keep in mind that this Congolese youth need him. He is one of the person I usually admire on the situation in the Congo. So with that, let me go to what you want me to say today. And I would like to be today more precise than I have been maybe last time we met. And I will only have two things to do today. To show you pages and writings from where the struggle in the Eastern Congo come from, and to answer one of the questions some of the questions, let me remain open on that. It means that there are questions people ask about those who are fighting in the Eastern DRC, and those who are undergoing those fights, they are sometimes unable to respond to those questions. So let me say this. I will base my expose today on books and authors that Banyarwanda use. And I want the youth that were not the other day with us to be careful and follow, because they may have answers they may give to Banyarwanda. Many times they say, we are this, following what such an author or such a writer said. Okay, now, the first book, and you can remember, and I will share my screen, but before that, Larissa, can you show the small part of what a lady has said about Mulenge and what it is for them? Can you show that? I have it here on my screen, but I don't know how to share it.
Sure, I'm gonna try to share. Just give me a second.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got the video that you sent me. I'm gonna try to share my screen.
Yes, please. Do you think I can share mine?
Yeah, I think you can share yours because I'm also using my phone, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it through my phone. But I can
Yeah.
make you host, and you can
Yeah. Yeah.
the video.
Let me do it if possible, because I have it somewhere on my screen.
I've just made you co-host. Feel free
Okay.
to share your screen.
Okay. Let me try to find it. I think I have it here. Here it is. Do you see that?
Yes.
I hope this will work. How do I make this? How do I play this? Oh my goodness.
Just press on play, like down where you see
Play.
like 30. Do you see the number 30 over here?
30?
In the middle. In the middle.
Here?
No, go down, down. Yeah, there.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we're able to hear the video.
You are not hearing?
No,
No,
we
we're unable
cannot
to
hear.
hear it. Can you give us the gist of what the video is saying? Because we can't hear it.
You can't hear?
We can see, but we can't hear it.
Oh. Okay.
I can hear a little bit.
What do I do for you to hear? What do you want me to do for you to hear?
I'm not exactly sure, but what can you explain to us what the video is saying so we can maybe understand that way, and then we can forward it to all the attendee afterwards so they can watch it on their own time.
The only thing I want you to hear or to understand from her own words, she says, Mulenge is our country. We are there. You are not going to leave Mulenge. We are here to stay. We are not going to leave Mulenge. Those are words coming from that lady. She's speaking in English. So that's the thing that connects to what Kambale's just said. We control our lands? I don't think so. Like him, I think we don't control it. Now let me go back to writings. Are we still together? Are we still
follow you?
Okay. Now, Mulenge is a country. It's our country. That's how they say. Now let me go to the first book that is the most cited by Banyarwanda as the book that show that they are in the Congo before the creation of Congo, because that's the debate. And I want to say this before I continue. I'm not denying that any Munyarwanda cannot be Congolese. No. I say any Munyarwanda can become Congolese. But like any Congolese who come to the US, before becoming US citizen, there is a process. And that process, everyone needs to respect it. But you can't just be in this country, the US, because you have been maybe born, you have not been born here, and you start claiming you are Congolese, you are Americans. It's not possible. But the law in the US says if you are born in the US, you are American. That's not the case in the Congo, and that's not the case in Germany. That's not the case in Switzerland. In many countries, to be born in a country is not the criteria to be citizen of that country. There are other proceedings. And when you take page 120 of the book Le Pays d'Uvira, can I share this? Is this in there? Is see? You will tell me if you see it. To leave this. Okay. My professor of video sharing, can you tell me how do I get along with, I get away this sharing of this? I see. Oh no, not yet.
Wait, you want to stop sharing it?
Yeah, I want to start sharing the book I have on my screen now, not this anymore.
Also, wait, hold on. Maybe click on like minimizing. So like go up.
So Dr. Kibiswa, you don't want to share your screen anymore?
No, I want to share my screen, but now books, not the video anymore.
Was the previous tab open? Because you can just minimize. You can maybe stop sharing your screen and then go to that folder and then share.
Let me stop sharing and then reshare. Let me do this. Oh, I think I have a possibility to do it now. Where's my book? Do you see any book there? Do you see any page?
No, we don't.
Not yet? Okay, so I need to stop sharing, then I... Someone coming. You have it now?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. I am on page 120, I think. 119, and I go to. So when you have a Munyarwanda talking about their presence in the Congo before the Congo became Congo, and he mentions the main source, the main book they mention is George Weiss. And I sent these pages to one, I think to most of those. I think I sent it to Larissa, and she could send it to people where last time we met.
Dr. Kibiswa, do you mind proceeding with your presentation, because we only have about 20 minutes for you, and whatever documentation, I can just send it to the participant afterwards.
Okay, good. Let me say this. If you have people saying that they are in the Congo before the creation of the Congo, it's because they want to be recognized as Congolais d'origine, Congolais d'origine. And why they want to be recognized as Congolais d'origine? It's simply because they can be president of the DRC. In the US, you can't be president of the US if you were not born in the US. That's why you have some leading people in the US who couldn't be president of the US, like one who is well known is Kissinger. You have already heard about Kissinger. Kissinger, who couldn't be president of the US simply because he wasn't born in the US. And you have others like that. So if you have that kind of discussion with, if we have that kind of discussion with Banyarwanda, self-named Banyamulenge, it's simply because they want to be recognized as Congolais d'origine. To be Congolais d'origine means you can be president of the DRC. That's the only thing they fight for. And if we have many people killed today, it's simply because they want to be recognized as Congolais d'origine. And why? Because they want to be one day president of the DRC. Do they have that opportunity? I can say for sure, Joseph Kabila is one of them. He has already been president of the DRC for 18 years. So why should they continue to fight? The other reason, and which is the main reason, is what I call ethno-nationalism. What does it mean by ethno-nationalism? Ethno-nationalism is that loyalty a person or a people have to his ethnic group more than his or her nations or their nations. It means if, as I am Murega of South Kivu, and I am ethno-nationalist, I would put the interest of the Warega before the interest of the DRC. Then, and you need to add, I want to lead absolutely the others on the basis of my ethnic group. That's ethno-nationalism, but you need to add another criteria. Another criterion is I want absolutely a state. So loyalty to my ethnic group more than to my nation or the nation I claim to be, member of seeking a state. I want to have a state and I want to lead that state as a group or as a person, but it should be a person, a group, and persons from that group want to lead it. Why? And that the other element, the history shows that for more than 5 centuries, Tutsi have led a kingdom, have created a kingdom in Rwanda and a kingdom in Burundi. And they have led both Rwanda and Burundi for centuries. And the system has been based on the ethnic groups. That's why they put it a kingdom, not a republic. So the power can go from the father to the son to the grandson, and so on, so on, so on, so on. That's the way things happen to those who are claiming today to be Congolese, and not all Congolese, but as Congolais d'origine, native Congolese. Why? Because they want to have a system in the DRC which will help them to become as they were in Rwanda, as they were in Burundi. So if they can't do it today because they are struggling with the space, because Congo is too large for them to win that battle in a few time, they try now to divide so that they can reduce the space in which their war can be waged. If they can have North Kivu, South Kivu, and maybe Ituri and Tanganyika as states, I've already admitted that person, Zach, is trying to enter. Is he already there?
Yeah, I accepted them.
Okay, so if they want Igunzi, patient.
Don't worry about it, Dr. Kibiswa. I'll be letting
you
them
will
join.
be doing that?
Yeah.
Thank you. So when they can get and make Ituri, North Kivu, South Kivu, Tanganyika a state, dimensions, geographic dimensions in which they are would be less than the whole Congo. And their troops can manage easily to control that area, and they can make it the new kingdom in which they will be leading. So that's what is happening now. And I prefer to leave all the time you need to ask questions, and I will just be responding to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kibiswa. I'll open the floor to 3 questions, and any other questions will be addressed to him through email, and we'll get those answers to you only because we are running on a time deficit. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hands or put it in the chat box. Thank you. CCWM, go ahead.
Yes. So this is Asami Okoko, and I mean, I'm going to talk on my behalf. Of course, I operate within the CCWM, but I also act as a human being on the planet. And I'm also creating, as we speak, the month of Congo heritage. I think I want to address the Mulenge topic as a youth, as a Congolese man from the diaspora. And I mean, addressing the question that my brother just addressed is hard. And the language barriers between us in a meeting with such importance, I think our language barrier is a problem between us in this meeting. And I could feel what my brother was explaining, and it's so emotional that I could feel that it was hard for him to put together his words. But I kind of know what he was talking about, but a lot of us youth don't know about what he was talking about. Personally, I have an image in mind. I'm gonna share it with you, not through virtual technology, but with words. I have an image in mind as a young Congolese, proud Congolese. I have an image in mind for the last 10 years. It's a map of Congo with a big part of the East, which is not part of the Congo anymore. I'm sorry, I don't have the source for this. Maybe other people have seen maps like this. The image of this map with the east part of Congo, which is not part of Congo anymore, that's to me a nightmare. It's not a nice image that I have in mind. I have it with me every day, and especially now in this period of Congo Heritage Month. What I call Congo Heritage Month is the month of June. We know that we shouldn't celebrate only one day. The Congo Week is there to spread a message. And Congo Heritage Month just came together as an operation. We were promoting the CCWM cookout. We did a hashtag for those who manage social medias in the call. You know, we manage hashtags. We try to concentrate attention on certain hashtags, but we use hashtags as creativity as well. So my mind just went creative, and Congo Heritage Month came out of my fingers. And when I saw this, the hashtag, I couldn't stop staring at it. And that's how we came about starting the CHM campaign. It's in progress. More and more people are using the hashtag on Instagram and Facebook, but it's not only going to be a hashtag campaign, because the idea that came from God, you know how it is, creativity, we don't know where it comes from, so it comes from God. That creativity, that idea came to a person who has deep root into Congo pride and Congo liberation dreams. And to me, it was a sign, it was a tool that was given to us to go further in our message, to use more moments to speak about Congo and the heritage that we leave to the world, not only today in 2021, but for the last, you know how long, not only 61 years, not only 61, we have been bringing technologies to the world and so many other things.
Sam,
when we, yes, I have to do quick. I have to do quick. I'm sorry,
not to
but
cut you off.
This is really the the question of the Mulenge brings so much emotions to so much people, and even to myself. And I was speaking, I remind you, on my personal name, but this question is so emotional that it becomes hard to explain it. And I would wish that we explain it a bit more in French in a next meeting. We should create more meetings about this subject, and we need to find a way to cooperate all together, even though some people don't speak French and some people don't speak good English. We need to find ways. Some of us need to work on this, finding solutions so we could collaborate all together, even though some people don't speak good French or good English. That's just a little word I wanted to say, because I could feel that he was trying to explain something, but it was hard to bring it out. And, you know, I wish I could help on that topic precisely. Thank you.
So just to elaborate, what was your exact question so that Dr. Kibiswa
It's a
can
comment.
answer it?
It was a
So
simple
just a
comment.
comment,
A simple
okay.
comment. Mulenge, the question of Mulenge, I just want to highlight that a lot of people don't know what it is. And this video that he was trying to share is circulating right now. I saw this video in the last 48 hours. This woman screaming, "This is Mulenge, we're not going to move. This is our country." And she's using the word country. And it sounds weird when somebody is using the word country within your country. So, of course, I have a lot of questions about this situation, and I was happy to see Professor talking about it, trying to explain parts of it, and I learned something already, but I just wanted to highlight that we need to address this as a community in United States, Canada, and as a community in general on the planet, as Congolese. We need to address this Mulenge question, explain to those who don't understand, and even myself, I have so much to learn about it. So, you know, I was just happy to hear about it from Professor. This is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will just let everyone know that WHDRC has held previous rooms or previous Zoom forums with Dr. Kibiswa expanding on the Mulenge and Eastern region issue. We will have the video of the forum up on YouTube in a little while, and we plan on hosting multiple. It was very informative, so please keep in touch with us using the WHDRC Twitter and Instagram page, as well as our website, whdrc.org, where you will find information pertaining to subject matters like this. That being said, I'll take this last question just because our brother from CCWM did take a little long with this comment, which we appreciate. Newgate says, il y a une nouvelle qui circule sur les réseaux sociaux que le Congo et le Rwanda négocient pour pouvoir traiter les minéraux du Congo au Rwanda. Dr. Kibiswa, est-ce que vous avez un commentaire à ajouter au commentaire que Newgate a posé? And I'll take one more question. If anybody has one, please feel free to put it in the chat. Thank you.
I'm with you now in the US. I'm not in the Congo now. And I'm not in my ethics. I can't be affirmative in things I don't control on. I hear that. So from not, I can't have any data to confirm or to deny it.
What is that?
Who can I ask the person that has their mic unmuted to please mute their mic? Thank you.
So I can't confirm and I can't deny it. Simply because I don't have any data about it. Did you understand me? I can't confirm and I can't deny it. It may be there. The system in the Congo is the PSA system. So it's what people say. You can deny it, but later it is confirmed. So I can't assert it or deny it.
Thank you,
Got you.
Dr. Kibiswa, for that. And I don't think that we have any more questions after that. If you do, please feel
I
free.
see Mo Fury.
Okay, Mo Fury. Mo, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Sorry, Ru. Yeah, I know we don't have a lot of time. Mais je vais juste demander à Dr. Kibiswa une question rapide. C'est, j'entends souvent, on parle souvent de nos voisins, et on parle souvent de comment, comme M. Kambale, merci de sa présence, comment il a parlé, il a expliqué comment les forces occidentales et tout nous maltraitent et tout. Mais moi, je me demande pourquoi, je crois qu'on devrait commencer par l'homme congolais lui-même, hold him accountable first, avant d'aller accuser les autres. Donc, je crois qu'on devrait d'abord. Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez, M. Kibiswa, par rapport à ma réflexion? De d'abord se tourner vers nous-mêmes, d'abord régler le problème, parce que notre gouvernement fait n'importe quoi, mais il y a des gens qui continuent à supporter le gouvernement pour quelconque raison, que ça peut être la famille, l'ethnie ou quoi que ce soit. Donc, on a beaucoup de choses à régler en tant que Congolais avant d'aller vers les Rwandais ou quoi que ce soit. Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez?
Good question.
We have to struggle. I'm struggling to explain to you in English. It's not natural for me. So I will try to respond in English so that most of our people who are hearing can hear what I'm saying. It's an option. If you want to spend first time to try to put all Congolese together, you will spend the whole time trying to put all Congolese together while Rwanda occupied the whole Congo at the same time. For me, I think those who can do things to take over power in the DRC, I can't forbid them. I can't stop them from doing it. Remember, in democracy, even in democracy, and I can say it's difficult to have consensus in a democracy where every Americans or all French or British speak the same way. It's difficult. But even the smallest group which is organized and that can take over power can do things. When Kagame took power in Rwanda, do you think every Rwandans were with him? No. A small group. When I say for centuries, Tutsi have led Rwanda and have led Burundi. How many Tutsi are there in Rwanda and Burundi? Almost 15% of the population of Rwanda and then Burundi. But they have kept power. They've withheld power for many years, centuries. So if you can, my brother, Mo Fury, I like your name, but it's not a true name. I would encourage you, if you can organize a group of people, a small group of people who can go and take over power and impose whatever you want to get back our country from the hands of those who are controlling it. Do it. So don't wait until you are together. No. But what Kambale said is the advice I would like you to have, and to parents. Don't spend too much time in discussing jeeps. The president will give 500 jeeps to MP and so on and so on. No, don't spend time to those kind of conversations. Spend time in learning. Spend time in trying to find solutions, not those kind of conversation Congolese like. We like to be on our media, social media, and dance and so on and so on. That's a problem. The others are just doing what they want with our wealth. That's what I can say. Don't wait until you are together, all Congolese. It's impossible. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Larissa.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you so much, Dr. Kibiswa, for your insightful input. We really appreciate it every time you come on the platform and share your knowledge with us. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sarah. She's one of our youth leaders in the USA, and she had a message for us, the youth. And Sarah, if you can go ahead and begin, just share your message with us so we can go ahead and begin. Sarah, are you still here?
We lost Sarah. We have many problems with our internet today. I fell twice.
You, Sarah?
Yeah. Okay, talk. Larissa? Hello, Larissa?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello, Larissa? Hello?
Yes.
Sarah says she's there, but she doesn't know what is going.
Yeah, I can see her, but I can't hear her.
Yeah. She says she doesn't know what is going on, but she's trying to restart again.
Okay.
But maybe someone can continue to ask the questions.
And I think we can wait for Sarah to go ahead because we're running short on time.
Right. Hello, good morning.
Morning. Oh. And what about Guy Lumumba?
I think Sarah's back. You can go ahead.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys. Thank you for everyone for being here. Thank you for having me. I just wanted to say that this, for me as a Congolese Haitian American, this conversation, this whole conference is super important. And I just want to say thank you for allowing the young people to be here and to have a voice and have a say in what is going on in Congo today. So like I said, hello everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Sarah Ntagwanda Georges, and I'm born and raised here in Manchester, New Hampshire. My mother, Mary Georges, a proud Congolese woman from Bandundu, Kinshasa, and my father, Morel Georges, a proud Haitian man from Aken, Haiti. I've been part of the Congolese community before there was any Congolese community of New Hampshire. For a lot of Congolese families in New Hampshire, their story in the US starts in a blue and white house where the food is Congolese food and real Haitian food, and it's always hot and ready on the stove to eat. The conversation is always going, and the family of the house is your own personal welcome community, English tutor, tour guide, and your new New Hampshire family. For 26 years, the doors of my home and our hearts have been open to our community. Even though my mom and all my aunts and my uncles have moved to the United States, they never forgot where they came from. They never forgot our customs, our cultures, and our traditions, because they knew how important it was for them to pass on the torch to the next generation so that we can set Congo free. This year, I had the honor to visit my homeland of DRC Congo for the first time. My time in Congo was filled with love, first greetings, understanding, and history. But before I share my story of Congo and what I learned, I want to talk to you about the lost history that I learned and how it relates to the next generation today. Our story as Congolese people starts before our independence, before Belgium came to colonize, and even before King Leopold. Our story starts at the beginning, where we were an independent nation and real free people. We were a nation of people that were established, and the world looked to us as the future. We were a nation of people who gave our women the respect that they deserved and held them with the most highest of honors. We were a government that governed with honor for its people. And we were a nation of people that lived in harmony with God, God, nature, and ourselves. We were teachers, farmers, healers, spiritual teachers, warriors, philosophers, and even engineers. Most importantly, we were free people. In 1885, King Leopold heard the tales of a man named Henry Stanley that in his adventures in Congo and all it had to offer. King Leopold saw the advances that Congo can give to him. So he set out to take Congo for himself. At the time, Congo was being divided by French and English colonies. Leopold had a plan: send Henry to Congo, get him to talk to the people, have them sign over their lands and the trade rights over to King Leopold. And in return, he would get the world in Belgium to see his side and tell the world that his plan for Congo was to make it a free state and free the people from foreign enemies. He stated that this would be the most humanitarian thing to do. King Leopold got his way. At the time, across the ocean, modern times were hitting the ground driving. The inventions of more modern travel were needed, like the bicycle and the car. Leopold saw this as the time to cash in on his investment. With this, a dark shadow was cast upon our beloved land for the next 80 years. As the gruesome stories of Congolese people grew louder and louder, stories of slave labor for rubber and iron and ivory, stories of genocide and mutilations of our people in Congo, stories of Leopold's private army and the mass killing. Leopold was not going down, and he was not going down without a fight. In 1908, Belgium saw that it was time for them to step in and take over Congo. not for the people's sake, but because King Leopold was dragging Belgium's name in the mud. Belgium also saw the benefits that Congo can do for Belgium's economy. With this, for the next 50 years, the dark shadow that Leopold horrific and gruesome reign followed Belgium as they took over. With this unfairly rule, Belgium had their own ideas of keeping the oppressed people of Congo down. They had a saying, if you keep a man ignorant long enough, they will not give you trouble in the future. Little did they know that two great men will go down in history for the dreams of seeing a free Congo. A dream of seeing Congo economically free, free from foreign enemies, bleeding Congo in its natural resources, free from corruption. They had a dream for Congo to have a true freedom. Patrick Lumumba, a man that Malcolm X called the greatest man to ever walk the African continent, Congo's first prime minister of a independent Congo, Congo's true leader, a man that worked his way up to the top without forgetting who he was appointed to be, a man that gave his last breath for this country, a man that's legacy runs through the veins of many young women and men today that protest for a better Congo. The spiritual father, and I apologize if I say his name wrong, Prophet Simon Kimbango, a man that was chosen by God to set his people free. God chose him amongst other pastors to become his prophet and teach his people their lost history and their lost faith. A man that held the sick and preached the goodness of Black people. A man that struck fear in the eyes of Belgium because of the wisdom that was bestowed upon him. He gave his life, his faith to God and his country. His legacy lives on today. And his legacy lives on today through every child that is born in the Holy Land of Kamba, with the gathering of the elders that tell their stories and their teachings to the villagers, and with the 100-year celebration of the spiritual father, that people come from all over to attend. I had the honor of attending this year, and it was truly a life-changing experience. As I sit on the plane flying over Congo, the pilot announces that we are now entering DR Congo. I lift up the window and I saw, there she is in all her glory, my homeland, DR Congo. My eyes filled with tears, and the only thing I could do at that moment was pray and thank God for the opportunity that he gave me to experience this exact moment, something that I never thought I would ever be able to experience in my life. My experience in Congo is a beautiful one, but also a sad one. I got to see the beautiful mountainsides and villages of Kinshasa to Kamba. I got to see kids selling their goods in villages nearby Kamba. I got to hear tales of a mama that worked for years selling food in her home every day, in the chance of one day having her own restaurant as we sit and eat in her restaurant. I got to see children going to school. I got to see the schools. I got to see little children walking to school in their uniforms with smiles. I got to walk amongst people that lived, breathed the teachings of the spiritual father. I got to be amongst elders who knew the history of their people, and not just of Congo, but as Black people, as a whole nation. I got to sit down and talk with young people whose hunger was bigger than Congo. Their hunger was bigger than their stomachs for a better Congo. As my time in Kamba was coming down to an end, I knew that my journey was just beginning. Kinshasa, the pearl of Congo, One of my favorite moments in Kinshasa was waking up before everyone and heading out to the balcony and just listening to the city wake up. It was the sounds of hope. When I was there, I took it upon myself to understand the status of Congo. I understand two things. If there is something wonderful and good that they can talk about, they would have pride of Congo and they can go into detail. But if something that was wrong with it, they would just say, this is Congo. I couldn't understand, this is Congo. It was like the sounds of hope came in the morning and it left as the sun set. This is Congo was the words of defeat, and it was upon everybody's lips. I wanted to understand, so I asked questions, like when I came back from Kamba and it was past curfew, if we didn't have this sign that stated that we were part of the Kimbangi's church, what would happen? The answer I got was, we would have to pay off the cops that were on parole. I asked why. They said, this is Congo. Like when I used the ATM, and as I came out, I saw that my uncle paid off a police officer that was on guard. I asked him, why did he do that? He told me, in Congo, this is the way. When I went to the museum and I asked, how far does our history go? Our history goes as far back as Jesus Christ. I asked, how were women betrayed before the Westerners came? Femininity starts here. We cannot talk about feminists without Congo. Women will receive the highest of honors, even higher than a king. As we walked along the streets, I saw that there were new housing getting built across the People's Parliament. I asked, who would live in these houses that are being built by the Chinese in Congo? My uncle says, not the people. When I asked, why don't they just rebuild the neighborhoods that are right around the corner from the new housing? My uncle told me, because Congo doesn't have the money to do that. The more questions I ask, the more I understand that Congo may have her independence, but it's only by name. She may have her independence, but our people are not free. My experience in Congo made me understand why my mother fights so hard for the rights of people in Congo. The truth of the matter is, Congo is still in the same place where it was when Belgium was in power. Congo is still getting raped for all her natural resources. The government is still Muibi, as the people are living out their lives of a generational curse of suffering. A man can try to look up my skirt and with no shame and no respect for himself or for me. Children have to make a choice between education or survival. A man can work all week and only make $5. And its reality is that the young boys can become men of the street instead of men of prestige position. And a young woman will understand that her body means more than her mind. It is the richest country in the world, but yet it is the poorest country in the world. And yet our blessed land still stands today. When I first heard the words of Patrick Lumumba's words of independence, it brought tears to my eyes. I thought about the time I took my uncle and my niece, Miriam, to the museum, a place where everyone has seen before, but never thought it was important to go in. My uncle's eyes opened about a lost history that was never told to him at the age of 56. My niece thanked me because she understood through her true history, she has the power to now teach young women that they are more than just their body, but that we are warriors who struck fear into men's eyes who dare to ever try to take what belongs to us. And at the same time, in that same moment, I realized that we have failed Patrick Lumumba and we have not uphold the legacy that he has left for us. In the words of Patrick Lumumba, the Republic of Congo has been proclaimed, and our beloved country's future is now in the hands of our people. Brothers, let us communicate together a new struggle and submit a struggle that will lead our country to peace, prosperity, and greatness. Together, we shall establish social justice and ensure every man a fair reimbursement of their labors. We shall show the world that Black men can do when working in liberty, and we shall make Congo the pride of Africa. We shall see to it that lands of our native country truly benefits its children. We shall receive all old laws and make them into new ones that will be just and noble. We shall stop, excuse me, my page left. We shall stop the president of free thoughts. We shall see that all its citizens enjoy the fullness extent that the basic freedoms provide by the Democratic of Human Rights. With that, I call upon all the children in Congo. I call upon all the descendants of Queen Nzinga and Kapi Vita to take their place at the table. I call upon all the descendants of King Missouri, Patrick Lumumba, Simon Kimbango, to take their place at the table. I'm calling upon all the children of the Africa diaspora to take their place at the table. It is now the time for the next generation to pick up the torch to take change into our lives of our families, our sons, and our daughters. It is time for us to march on the streets just like our cousins are doing today in Congo. It is time for us to be part of the conversation. It is time for our voices to be heard. And if we're not taking into consideration or taking seriously, then we will make our own table and fight to live out the true legacy of our people who died for us. We will make sure that their deaths, and along with so many others, will not go down in vain. Congo may have her independence, but we are the ones that will set Congo free. Thank you.
That was excellent, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any comments after that, just while we set up Mr. Guy?
Larissa? Larissa?
Hello?
Larissa? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Nous vous entendons, mon frère.
Larissa? Hello, Larissa?
This is Passif.
Allô, Larissa?
Est-ce que vous pouvez parler si vous voulez parler?
Bon, je voulais dire à Larissa parce que Miss Lumumba avait une confusion, je crois, il est entré avant, mais je crois qu'il peut être là dedans, je ne sais pas.
Hello?
Il peut maintenant parler?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Unfortunately, we're ending the meeting at 1 p.m. because we had it until 1:30. So I'm not sure if you have time to present his presentation.
Okay. I don't know if she's Maybe she's in now because I don't know. She said she didn't have the link. She was trying to go through it. It was not go through. Maybe she was just confusing with the time.
Okay. He can go ahead until 1:30. But do you mind translating for him? Because I know he's a French speaker.
Before she does, can I just say one thing real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I just really wanted to state, and I really wanted just to say that I encourage everyone, old, young, to have conversations and to learn our history. Without knowledge, you don't have power. And for us as Congolese people to have power, we need to have our knowledge. We need to have our history. It is super important that we know who we are as people, not as people who were slaves, not as people who had to fight for their independence. It is super important that we know who we were before any of this happened, because who we were before, like I stated in my my speech, that we were people who the world saw as the future. Until today, the world still sees us as the future. That is why they take from us and not give back. As you see other countries prospering and having new inventions and having new buildings built out, we are the only ones who does yet to see what our own resources and what our own things do. Personally, I think that Congolese people, we need to stop looking at our government and start looking at ourselves. If we want to see Congo change, we need to change the way that we think, the way that our kids think, the way that we think as a community, and how we think as Africans. That right there is how we really start our change. When we change what we do, how we perceive other people, how we perceive other Africans, that change will also grow into people becoming bigger and better things for us as Congolese people. And that's it, but thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Sarah. We really appreciate it. But at this point, we're ending the meeting in about a few minutes because we're already past the time that we are allocated for the meeting. If anybody has any questions, concerns, feel free to raise your hand or add any comments.
I see Igunzi as Patient Igunzi.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. This is Patient Igunzi from Kambale, the South Province of Kivu. I've got a question to my sister Sarah. She spoke about the harmony that were in Congo before the arrival of Belgians. So I would like to know how anyone can answer this question, how we can rebuild that harmony that we had before the arrival of Belgians, because today we are somehow separated because we have so many tribes, so many ethnic groups in our country, and foreign people, I mean, the foreign force is using one of the tribes just to bring about conflicts, and then this makes people that they cannot be in peace. I don't know how we can rebuild that harmony that we had before the arrival of Belgians and colonizers. That's what my question, because I heard some of the people saying that the problem of Mulenge, Banyamulenge, and this is an historical problem. Today, Banyamulenge are considered as Congolese, and we cannot deny because the constitution is giving that opportunity to them. And you can see, for example, in some provinces, only one tribe is subjected to rule the provinces. So how can we solve this problem? Some tribes are said to be smaller, others are said to be bigger, and one tribe is privileged. Thank you for this was my question.
To answer your question, I'm actually going to take this back to where I went to the museum in Congo. When I was there, I fought very hard to go to the museum because I love history. I love learning about my history. I love understanding it because history repeats itself. And we can obviously see that when it comes to our history down the line, regardless of who it is. But to answer your question, when I was there, I actually asked the same question. How is it that Congo has so many different tribes, but yet they're not unified? And he told me the same, but when I was there, they told me the same, that Congo and our tribes, we were unified. You know, it wasn't who was bigger, who was superior, or anything. It was, that's my brother's tribe. That is my sister's tribe. We were all together. Regardless if one tribe had their own set of laws or the other set of laws, at the end of the day, they all came together. All the heads of like the tribes came together in unity for meetings. They all came together to discuss what is going on, what are the seriousness of not just their land, but of their people. And together, they were able to discuss and come up with solutions. If one tribe was needed help with something, help with something else, two tribes will be right behind them, there to lend help. We as people are all divided because somebody is part of one tribe or someone else is part of a different tribe, and this tribe can be superior because they have this many people or because they have this as a politician. At the end of the day, we are all Congolese. We all are from the same place. Regardless if you're from the north, the south, the east, the west, it does not matter. You may have your own customs within our Congolese community, but we're all together. When you come to United States and you see other Congolese people, you stick with them because there is no other Congolese people. It didn't matter where they come from or what tribe they come from. No, it's just the fact that you're Congolese in the United States, so we stick together. Or you're African and we come to the United States and we stick together. It should be the same thing in Congo. Regardless of who your tribe is, we should be able to come together. Those leaders should be able to come together and sit down and be like, okay, this is what's happening in my community. How can other communities come together and help us? How can we come together and have a better understanding of us as a people? I hope that answers your question.
I will help you. Let me help Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
You are really smart.
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Look, first response. There was no Congo as it is today before 1885. That's the first thing everyone needs to know. No Congo before 1885. But there was Congo with K, the Kingdom of Congo, the Congo Kingdom. Westward in what is now Leopoldville, Kinshasa. That's where Congo and all the Congo Central with part of the Congo Brazzaville and part of Angola. There was a kingdom named Congo Kingdom. When Leopold II, that's the third thing I want to mention, united a confederation of kingdoms, Luba kingdoms, Lunda kingdom, Bashi kingdom, and so on, to make what is now known as Congo with C. That's when the nation state of Congo, which is today, started, and that's in 1885. And then you have, and that's the fourth thing I want to mention, then you have the process of building a nation through the state of Congo. The state came before the nation. And that's how the process went. They put together all these confederations, all these kingdoms, and then a state was created. And then the process of creating a nation started. And Mobutu was key in that process. Even if we may not like him, but the Congolese builder of the nation, the first one is Mobutu. And he spent all his time trying to build that kind of one people. And you can remember one of his slogan, Tatabo Moko, Mamabo Moko. That's the key. And anytime I hear that, it's emotional. So that's Mobutu first did it. Unfortunately, Mobutu didn't do enough for the socio-economic wealth to be distributed among Congolese. But that's the builder of the nation. And everywhere we could go, and that time we were named Zaïrois since 1971. Zaïrois was a person who was respected everywhere because of one nation by Mobutu. So, and as Sarah said, all these people, about 400 tribes put together, started to feel themselves and to be proud to being Congolese, Zairians. And no one could say, this is what did Mobutu? If you are from Congo Central, you can't govern, you can't be mayor, you can't be whatever in Congo Central. You should go, for instance, to Katanga, to Shaba. You should go to be governor in South Kivu. You should be and so on. That's how he united the country. Then we have, since Kabila and the new constitution, you have people sent back to their own provinces. So denial started more than it was before, because now you have in Katanga, governor from Katanga tribes, he can deny others to be there, like Kyungwa Kumwanza did in time back ago, and so on and so on. That's a problem we have now. Tribalism has taken too much place everywhere, and we deny each other right where we are in our
Hey, Dr.
own.
Kibiswa, not to cut you off, but the meeting's about to end shortly. So I just wanted to give closing remarks. Thank you for everybody who joined us today. This was very informative. We really appreciate all of y'all for taking the time out of your day to join us today. With that being said, all the information shared at the meeting will be sent to all the participants. We'll be having more of these conferences for the youth. So please feel free to